And so I'd work in the garden with my dad, and I loved it, and I would spend hours in my field just like watching bugs do their thing, and like just laying on the ground, like just feeling like the sun-soaked ground in my bones and the sun on like my naked body, you know. Outdoors was, I think, probably the first sensation I ever like hardcore fell in love with as a kid. It was just my body with sun on it, like in nature, was the end. It was the beginning and the end, you know. And so this one day, I think I was probably around 7, you know, we were like working in the garden. It was summer, you know, my dad had his shirt off, I had my shirt off, we were like working in the garden, and he like told me I needed to put my shirt on, that like I couldn't go topless outside anymore. And he wasn't wearing a shirt, and I just remember like this moment of extreme dissonance of just being like what does that even mean? And like how dare you say that? Like you're taking away the best thing that I know how to feel, and I don't understand why.
But now when I get that gut feeling, I'm quick to tell you to shut the fuck up. But sometimes that's not a good thing, because again, angry black woman, which way do I go? Some days I gotta pick and choose, and that fucking makes me angry, because Donald Trump is getting votes and getting people to back him, and all he does is talk shit. But when I talk shit, or if I stand up for myself, I'm an angry black woman. What's wrong? What did I do? Then there's that whole, oh, wait a minute, black woman, you're angry at me? What did I say? And that's how this man behaved after I checked his fucking ass. And so when I rant, unfortunately, part of my rant is I gotta fucking choose when to rant. You don't have to. Lucky you.
Well, perhaps I should introduce myself. My name is Melissa Vox, and I'm an American artist. And I have no guilt. I'm a very happy person, because I thoroughly believe I'm happy because I'm able to express myself musically. Like if I didn't have music, I might be a serial killer or something like that. You know, who knows? But music definitely soothes the savage beast. I used to get in a lot of fights when I was a kid. And not even fights, it was just like, I used to have to punch a lot of people for acting stupid.
I've gotten a lot of feedback from readers who have said, you know, I thought I was the only one, and they even felt shamed in some ways because they felt that as a black girl they shouldn't be listening to this music, and they shouldn't be getting the emotions that they were getting from listening to the music. But realistically, from the beginning of time and within the history of heavy metal, listeners have always used the music for the same reasons that I'm arguing for. It's just that specifically for black women, with issues of racialized gendered stereotypes that we have to deal with, and also the fact that there's a sense of invisibility of our, you know, of our experiences within, you know, the larger society. It's extremely important for them to be able to find outlets to kind of, you know, exert that frustration or anger that they feel, because they have a lot to be angry about. And we're also living in a society that is constantly telling us that if we're not completely ignored, we're not supposed to say anything because nobody really cares, and our opinions aren't worth really anything.
We never had an agenda, like a manifesto, but we're like, yeah, we should talk about this. Oh, you know what pisses me off? Like, oh, we have to write a song about that. It just happens naturally, and like we have so much to say, and it's about time women's voices are heard. So I hope this is just the beginning.
Because we don't want to be labeled as a gimmick band. We really want to get the message across. And our appearances are not important at all. Like we don't even want our names to be known. It's just basically the concept and the message that once this should be interpreted. That's it. In death metal, you talk about brutal stuff, but this shit happens every day. You know,
real life is far more brutal than a violent
so
fantasy.
It is a social issue, and it's still acceptable for death metal lyrics because
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, it's worse than like a chainsaw massacre
Yes.
because it's actually happening
happens.
every day.
It's about taking this energy and this pent up anger I have about the insane injustices, you know, about so many things that I see happening in our society, in our world, and just channeling that. And I think what people find powerful about my performances, particularly when I'm in my punk project, which is definitely it's called Awaz though, my band. I mean, I'm like yelling, picking up microphone stands, like laying on the stage, you know, I'm just very, very visceral and physical. And I think that's a manifestation of having all of this anger and aggression just like living inside and just being able to let it go. You know, some people read, it's so funny, some people read that as joyful, but I'm like, no, it's mostly uninhibited rage, you know?
One of my favorite worst misrepresentations of anger is that it's a secondhand emotion. And this is really funny. I talk about emotions as that there is no such thing as a negative emotion. There's no such thing as a positive emotion. They're just emotions. And if anger exists to help you set a boundary and protect and honor your voice within the relationship, and you don't use anger, and something comes up and a conflict comes up and you don't have anger available to you because it's a negative emotion, right? Because why would you want that? Something is going to have to go into its place. Some emotion is going to have to step up. And for some women, it will be sadness, right? And sadness has an entirely different job than anger. Sadness exists to help you let go of things that aren't working anyway.
Is it rebellious? I'm gonna say no. I don't feel like I have that mantle. I think what I do is definitely genuine. And context is everything, you know, and I think, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about performing in Bangladesh because I don't want to have a fatwa on my head, you know. I'm sure what I'm doing there is very rebellious, you know. Women just don't, you know, dress this way or perform in public in that way. But I hope that it transgresses. That's what's important to me, is that my work is that people recognize me, not just for being like Sid Vicious, oh, I'm so, you know, but really in doing something that, and saying things that might help other young people think, can I do that? I don't know how to say that. Because that's when I think it comes.
When I got into music, it definitely like calmed me down. Like I didn't feel like I had to like be so defensive. It's interesting to see like how far I've come in a way. Like when I try not to think about it because it might actually make my brain collapse. But like just thinking about like little me, like I wish I could just go back and tell her like, you're fine, they're crazy. But I think like little me knew that already. It was just, it's the kind of thing like I imagine it's like Lord of the Flies in a way. It's like you're put into this like situation that's like kind of unusual, and then the herd gets that herd mentality, and then you like some people kind of don't want to go with the herd, so you get ostracized. Like it was that kind of thing. I wasn't content or comfortable with going with the herd ever. So I think a lot of that is reflected in my music. You can hear like the outsiderism, like it's basically outsider music, outsider art. I call it music for badasses, or people who are, you know, the underdogs, the outsiders, but are okay with it. I have a line in one of my songs called Born Out of Darkness, which it says, I'm the great American outcast with hell on my side. You know, so it's just, that's kind of like my mega anthem. I hope this was inspiring or useful to you in some way. So, uh-oh, someone called the cops.